What's Dateline? What is it? It's like cops or something? I've seen cops, you know.
That's when law enforcement moves in and arrests him.
Put the camera out of my face, please.
All right, it's time for more than likely the largest creep to have ever been caught on this show to get caught by Chris Hansen. In fact, this one's a little bit of a double whammy as we're going to be seeing two creeps caught today. But without any further ado, drop a like if you enjoy these classic TCAP reactions, and let's get right on into it.
There he is.
There he is.
This man pulling into our driveway is 38-year-old Peter Seagut, screen name Don Cheech.
So this is Peter, aka Don Cheech, and dude has some freaking drip. Now I gotta say, he's driving a very fancy vehicle. I have no idea the exact year of Hummer that this is because I don't really care about that company. But with this being early 2000s, this had to have been a pretty brand new car. So this guy obviously has some money to his name. He's a successful man. He clearly can afford to buy himself many meals, and yet he's still wasting his time talking on chat rooms with people that he should not be freaking talking to.
But Don Cheech repeatedly says he's afraid of getting in trouble. We think we know why. Listen as this female decoy pretending to be Brian talks to Don Cheech on the phone.
Okay, first, I gotta pause this before we can even get into this, dude. Oh my god, do they just not hire enough people with this P-Justice company that works with Chris for these investigations? Do they not have anybody that can be the younger voice on these phone calls? Because I already know this woman's gonna be answering the phone and is gonna sound like that SpongeBob character when they're trying to sell chocolates, and you expect somebody to actually be stupid enough. I know these guys are actual morons, but they're gonna hear that voice and be like, yeah, you wanna pick me up? You wanna come to my house? I'm a kid, I swear. You can't tell by the voice. They're just not gonna believe that crap, all right? But obviously, apparently, this guy does.
No, what are you talking about? What's Dateline? What is it? It's like cops or something? I've seen cops, you know.
And the acting is incredibly terrible. What is that voice? Oh my god, you were just pretty much relying on the fact that cell phone calls have the worst, especially back then, had the worst quality. So I guess you can maybe pull off the idea that you're supposed to be some teenager, but I really do not buy it. They were still able to get this guy to show up after this though, which shows his pure stupidity.
Despite his fears of being caught in our report, the 38-year-old shows up anyway.
Come on, get in out of the rain. You're gonna get yourself all wet.
Dude, this across the board is just a failure from this team, and it is a miracle that they're actually able to get this dude to continue showing up to this house. So now they have Dell. I definitely recognize Dell, a member of the P-Justice crew, the people that are behind the investigations for this entire series, and she does quite a bit of different voices slash characters, sometimes having to play the role of a teenage boy in these stings, and immediately she just walks up to the door and is pretty much pig calling this guy like, all right, come on, hey, it's dinner time, pull up to the house, come on, boy, I can see you walking slow, come on, make your way to the door, come on, get. Like, what the hell is this voice? It's so aggressive, and when they try to play these characters, it just comes off as so fake.
Dell now takes over the role of the boy and tries to convince the man to come inside, but Don Cheech seems very reluctant.
Hey, bro! Come on in!
So obviously the dude turns around because it's very weird. First of all, you got to think of these guys' mindsets. They're doing something that they know is super, super, super wrong to be doing. And if they get caught doing it, they could go away to jail for a long time, plus having their entire lives basically torn upside down from this one decision. So you got to understand they're going to be on edge. And this dude, of course, is. So when somebody greets you at the door from 40 feet away and they're like, all right, come on in, before you can even make out what their face looks like from that far away, and then they let the door slam behind them as they walk away almost to retreat, you gotta know something's going on there. So obviously this big dog understands that, and he turns around right away because, yeah, it's time to go back to the Hummer. Obviously this is a sting operation and he knows it.
Come on in! Come on, I gotta finish cleaning up the kitchen. I told you to come on in out of the rain, did you not hear me?
And I don't know what to call this other than like pig calling. Like literally this is how a farmer would speak to their farm animals. Did you not hear me? Get your ass over here. Come on. It's dinner time. I told you I had to go fix up some food for us, but go ahead and step inside. Come on. What are you doing? It's like it's so freaking aggressive. I'd be worried if I was this dude.
He wants to be sure Dell is really the boy he came to see.
Pull your head off. He's suspicious.
He's leaving again.
Yeah, he's
So once again, Dell leaves. I'm pretty sure Dell has short hair, but I'm not fully sure. He wants her to take the hat off because he can tell this is probably obviously not a teenage boy. So what is the response to that? Okay, let me close the door again and just leave. Like, what are they trying to do? Your goal is to get the guy in the house. I understand if you get close to him, he's gonna probably make out the fact that you are not the person he was talking to online. But still, that's something you have to risk at this point, because when they keep slamming the door in this dude's face, he already makes a point to not walk as much as possible. I mean, take a look at this dude's physique. So this little stroll he took from the Hummer was pretty much his weekly workout. He's not going to be doing this over and over. By the time he turns around for the second time, it's over, dude. Your chances of catching this guy is out the freaking window.
After Dell refuses to take her hat off, the 38-year-old heads back to his car. That's when law enforcement moves in and arrests him.
And that's right, they didn't even get to interview with Chris Hansen in this episode. This might be a freaking first that I've covered on this channel of somebody getting caught so quickly. The dude tries to go back to his car. Obviously, they have enough evidence from the chat logs alone and the fact that he showed up here. And I'm sure once they search his car and his person, there probably is going to be a few items that he brought along that will also tell a story of what he was planning to do here today. But I'm pretty sure that was enough evidence to take him away, obviously. Let's see the cops haul him back to the car as he gets humiliated, as I'm sure now the cameras fully come out.
Put the camera out of my face, please.
And as you're about to see, there are more potential predators like Don Cheech who don't stay long.
Bro could barely even get into that car. Look at him. He is struggling here. And he has the balls to be like, get that camera out of my face, please. I love that they think they're just some celebrities that are getting stalked by paparazzi. Like, no, you were on somebody else's property while you thought they were gone, trying to commit this heinous act here, getting literally arrested for it. And you still think you have power in this situation, enough power to be like, hey, let's turn the cameras off. I don't consent to being filmed. Like, this isn't a freaking hidden camera show, dude. Well, it is, but they don't have to get a release for you when you're breaking the law. And the whole point of the show is to catch people like you doing exactly that.
Dell's going to go out and try and get him. He's looking for a black female, so we're trying to pull this out.
Meet 43-year-old James Klein, a married man with 3 children.
Oh, jeez. And the next dude here is showing up very shortly after Don Cheech. But anyways, this dude has kids, 3, I believe they said, and he is married, which is probably a story that is very similar with a lot of these other creeps, but it just rubs me the wrong way when these dudes have their own families, their own lives that they are throwing away for this. And just think of the fallout for the family. Those kids have to grow up knowing their dad is this type of person for the rest of their lives, and I'm sure it rocked their entire family's world having him being on the show. So screw this guy. But the other funny thing I have to mention is the issue here is he's speaking to a girl online that he believes is black, and for as far as I've seen, I'm pretty sure there's not a single person of color working for the P Justice crew or this entire, TV show. So that might be an issue, and I'm really hoping that we don't see Dell answer the door with a certain color of paint on her face. Let's just say that, all right? This was the early 2000s, so I'm a little bit worried about that, dude.
Dang.
Now, Hold You Closer 2003 is walking in our house.
I gotta throw my laundry in, but I made you tea.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, the classic tea joke. That's how you get him. Also, this is scary. I don't know if they just forgot to include the person greeting him, but this guy walked into the house like it was no big deal, literally just ready to go. The confidence of some of these creeps blows my mind. Like, I'm already the most anxious person in the world, and if I was doing something as terrible as this, I would be a nervous wreck. But for him, he's just strolling in like it's another Tuesday.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Why don't you have a seat right over there? Did you find the place okay?
Huh?
Did you find the place okay?
No, I didn't.
And as soon as Chris Hansen walks out, this dude has turned to a complete bot. I mean, you look at that face, it is devoid of emotion, and I'm sure he has about a million things running through his mind. I don't know at this point if he recognizes Chris Hansen, but I'm sure he understands he's about to be in some big freaking trouble, considering why he's here in the first place. Man, all the thoughts of his family again, and just the overall ripple effect that this is gonna have has to be racing through his mind right now, and I am not envious of being this man in his position. What a freaking idiot.
Did you find the place okay?
No, I didn't.
It took you a while.
Huh?
Did you get lost?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why are you here tonight?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Holy cow, dude. This is like an episode of Westworld when they're talking to the bots at night as the park is closed, dude. Like doing the diagnostic stuff. This guy has legit turned to an NPC, and a bugged one at that. One where you're just like, oh my god, I bricked my save. Because anything I say to this guy, he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's one of those times you just gotta delete to save and like restart. Now, this is an interesting strategy. I don't think it's that effective, but it's definitely one I haven't quite seen yet. Some of these guys play dumb, but most of them have at least tried to continue to act like they understand how English works and how questions work, but this guy is just throwing that out the window and is like, you know what, I'm gonna act like I don't speak English. Maybe that'll work out for me and I'll get out of this situation.
He may be able to run away from us, but because Georgia authorities believe his chat log, he's arrested.
So this dude gets arrested too with a very, very quick interview with Chris Hansen. Only a couple questions able to get out of the way before this dude just strolls on out again with full confidence. I'm sure everything right now is a blur for him as he's just probably in a state of panic and shock. But as I just said in that last case, this dude also had enough evidence to where the cops could easily take him away, at least for some questioning, and I'm sure they charge them as well. They pull out the tasers and everything, and this dude is called down to the ground as he is taken to the station.
He admits to investigators he's been married for 20 years and has 3 children, ages 11, 13, and 15.
How would you feel if this was your 15-year-old or your 11-year-old?
And it's just terrible to think about the fact that these kids are about the age of the person, the decoy he was talking to, and he's been married for 2 decades. That is a long time, an entire life's work of raising and, cultivating a family that you are throwing away because you're some sick freak. That has to hurt. And they ask him how he would feel if, this was his family. Obviously, all these dudes say the same thing, like, oh, I'd be sick and I'd probably just I'd want to hunt down the guy that did it to him, because that's something I don't stand for. It's all just, baloney. Obviously, this guy doesn't care. He's a monster. But they also note that he's driven 100 miles away to do this, which some of these hauls, man, they just hurt my freaking brain. Why do they do this? Why do these people have such a compulsion for this? And how could you be that messed up in the head to get this just far away from where you should be as a dad and a husband?
And Klein actually does admit he was planning on staying the night.
I was going to leave tomorrow morning. Where were you going to stay at? She said I could stay there.
And this weirdo was planning on staying the night and is admitting that to the police. So it seems like he's running with the idea, maybe I should just be honest and I'll get a better time. I have no idea what he ended up getting sentenced with, but that is 2 guys that we saw caught today that nearly tried to make it out and, run away. And thankfully the evidence allowed the police to move in and get these guys. So let me know what you thought of this too down in the comments below. Big fan of Don Cheech. I've heard a lot about that username, and now I get why he's called the biggest creep that they ever caught in this show, because that dude was pretty large. Quite an insane story across both of these characters today. Shout out to my patrons who are always supporting me over there. I appreciate you guys watching to the very end. Leave a like if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until next time, peace out.